Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Justin, and today I am bringing you my hereto undefeated god tier Azulongmon Hexeblaumon deck. Let's take a look. Alright, so I want to start off, I'm gonna show this in Tabletop Simulator because I can show you like combinations a lot easier this way, and then in the end I will show a deck list on DigimonCard.dev just to make it easy. But we'll start off with the level 3s. Well, I guess we can start off with the babies. These aren't as big a deal, but they do help. So we have a 4-1 split on the babies with Wanyamon. While your opponent has 2 or more Digimon with no Digivolution cards in play, this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP. The reason I decided to go with this one primarily is to make sure in the end our Azulongmons, while they have 13,000 DP, I want to make sure that they don't accidentally get killed in security check by a 14k Digimon. I mean, there could be a 15k. I have other methods of increasing DP. So essentially I'm trying to overpower my Azulongmon so I can guarantee to get all the security checks. And then the 1 is the new Kiaramon. Once per turn, when one of your opponent's Digivolution cards is trash, you trigger draw 1, so it's an extra draw mechanic. That's always helpful. And then going into level 3s, we have Gomamon. It's the promo Gomamon. So when you trash a Digivolution card of one of your opponent's Digimon, gain 1 memory. Once per turn on your turn. And there's going to be a lot of Digivolution source trashing in this deck, so gaining the extra memory is a bonus. Second up is going to be Belucomon. Once per turn on your turn, when you trash Digivolution card, one of your opponent's Digimon, gain a memory. So just like Gomamon, but a secondary card, so if you got both in the field, now you're gaining 2 memory off of trashing something. And then we have Gizamon. Gizamon is new from BT6, if it will pop up the effect for me. No? Okay, so I guess we'll have to go the hard route here. So Gizamon, while your opponent has no Digimon with Digivolution cards in play on your turn, this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP. So it's Wanyamon into Gizamon pretty much, so that if you Digivolve that route, your Azulongmon will have plenty of power to survive anything that pops up in security. So the idea here, ideally, is Wanyamon into Gizamon, and then into Ikakumon, because Ikakumon, this Digimon on your turn, can't be blocked by your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards. So that is a key feature there, because if they can't be blocked, then you can't be stopped, and that guarantees all the security checks are going to go in. And as long as he's got the extra DP, even if a 15k Digimon popped up, there would be nothing to fear. So next after Ikakumon, we have Piledramon. As you can actually see here, I've got the whole Hexeblaumon line, and that's for good reason. So Piledramon, when Digivolving, trash 2 Digivolution cards at the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon. So we have more Digivolution trashing going on here. And when you Digivolve into him, ideally from Belucomon, there goes your memory trigger. If you've got a Gomamon on the field, or multiples of either, or whatever, more memory. And then I've got some Qualamon blockers in there, just because they're cheap, 1 to Digivolve, and it's always good to have some blockers. So far, every card on here is 4 of, so it's nothing tricky, nothing fancy, except for Ikakumon. Ikakumon's a 2 of, but everything else is a 4 of. Our level 5s are where we really start to shine on this deck. So we have Majiramon. When Digivolving, trash the top Digivolution card of one of your opponent's Digimon, so more Digivolution trashing. Yeah, that's the whole thing of this deck. But its inheritable effect is where it really shines. When attacking, once per turn, if your opponent has no Digimon with Digivolution cards, unsuspend this Digimon. And that's the key. You play everything else, all these other Digimon, all these other trashing effects, and when you finally do get to your Azulongmon, they have no sources on the field. And if you need a little extra help, that's what Hexeblaumon for. When Digivolving, trash one Digivolution card from the bottom of all of your opponent's Digimon. And its narrative effect on your turn, while your opponent has a Digimon with no Digivolution cards, this Digimon gains security attack +1. Now that can be useful to add on top of your Azulongmon, but it really isn't necessary. You can go that route, but honestly, the Bajiramon to Azulongmon is the best route. And then Hexeblaumon into Hexeblaumon. When attacking, trash the bottom 2 Digivolution cards of one of your opponent's Digimon. Then if your opponent has Digimon with no Digivolution cards, this Digimon gains jamming. And then all turns, all of your opponent's Digimon without a Digivolution card can't attack or block. This guy is a game breaker. This guy will shut down your opponents easily. Because with everything else that we've played, all of the other Digivolution trashing, by the time you get into a Hexeblaumon, they don't have any Digivolution sources, and now they can't attack or block. And you're free to Digivolve your Bajiramon into an Azulongmon and not worry about any blockers. Even if you didn't get the Akakumon in there as a Digivolution source, Hexeblaumon is a secondary that can keep your opponent from being able to block your Azulongmon. But Azulongmon is the star of the deck. This guy is beast. When Digivolving, trash the bottom Digivolution card of all of your opponent's Digimon. So this is just like the effect from Hexeblaumon, but for each opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards, gain 1 memory. And in today's meta, well, not here in the English at least, but in BT5 especially, and now going into BT6, it is so easy for people to establish wide boards with 3, 4, 5 Digimon on the field that Azulongmon becomes a cheap evolution. Even with just 3 Digimon on the field, Azulongmon would only cost 2 to Digivolve. And then, for each of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards, this Digimon gains security attack +1. So now, if your opponent has 3 on the field, you're Digivolving Azulongmon for 2, for a cost of 2 memory, and he takes out 4 security checks in 1 attack. If you need extra help, that's what the option cards are good for. We have Howling Memory Boost, where you trash 2 Digivolution cards at the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon. Then one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards cannot attack or block until the end of the opponent's next turn. So this is just a little bit more if you need just that little extra edge to get rid of a few more Digivolution sources and or stop a blocker. And then its delay effect is just like any of the other memory boosts. You play it to your battle area, and on any subsequent turn, you can send it to the trash to gain 2 memory. So that extra 2 memory boost down the line is really key. It helps you play some of the bigger stuff. But if you've got Sora and Jokido on the field with all of your opponent's Digimon, I mean, you're going to have at least 1 Digimon with no sources. It's impossible not to. And if at least 1 Digimon has no source on your opponent's side, you gain 2 memory. So every turn you have a Joe and Sora on the field, you're gaining 2 extra memory. If you have 2 on the field, you're gaining 4 extra memory. 6, 8, you get the picture. Sora Takenouchi and Jokido Tamer card in this deck is clutch. I mean, when I play tested this deck so far several times, I was so excited playing this deck that I had to make this video because I was getting 4, sometimes 6 memory depending on how many Sora and Joes I got on the field, but consistently getting 2 and 4 memory every turn on top of whatever my opponent gave me. And that guaranteed I could play my cards no problem. And then I have a really clutch option card for this deck. It's called Desperado Blaster or Death Parade Blaster. I don't remember which one is the English version. I believe it's Desperado Blaster. But this card for 3 costs, you can trash 2 Digivolution sources from the bottom of all of your opponent's Digimon. The effect with green is completely useless for this deck, but this card can clear out 2 sources from all of your opponent's Digimon for a cost of 3. So if you need the extra clearance, for some reason your opponent's able to smack down a bunch of evolutions, no problem every turn, maybe they're getting insane amounts of memory and they're playing a bunch of cards, Desperado Blaster will take care of some of that for you, if not all of it. Between Desperado Blaster, Hexeblaumon, and Azulongmon's effects to clear sources from every Digimon on the field, And then you've got Digimon like Blucomon, or not Blucomon, Paildramon that clears sources. You got Hexeblaumon that clears sources, Bajiramon that clears sources. I mean, it's unstoppable. I have not had a single playtest against a single person where they didn't have single Digimon on the field with, no sources whatsoever. And it made me so happy that I had to make this video. I wanted to get my deck list out there because this is a tier 1 deck. Now let me show you some of the evolution chains you can get going here. So, with your Wanyamon or even your Kiaramon, either way, but Wanyamon is usually the one I like. This is my main one. It's the one I want to have. And then you Digivolve Wanyamon either into Gizamon for the extra power, because that's what you really need to ensure your Azulongmon doesn't die in security check. But even when I didn't have a Gizamon under Azulongmon, like it's a rare feat that a 14 or 15k Digimon ends up in the security check, or in this case, even if you just use Wanyamon or just Gizamon, it has to be at least a 15k in order to take out your Azulongmon, and that's rare. That's a rare thing to find in a security check compared to what else you could find in there. Alright, so from Gizamon, we would ideally Digivolve into Ikakumon to be able to protect from blockers, and then you would Digivolve Ikakumon into Bajiramon, and Bajiramon into Azulongmon. So in this line, you've got a 2000 DP boost if 2 or more Digimon have no sources, which they will. Another 2000 DP boost if none of the Digimon have sources, which is very likely. It's the whole idea here. And then Ikakumon protects from blockers, and Bajiramon will unsuspend and make active your Azulongmon for a second round of attacks. Alright, once you get to your Azulongmon, you want to make sure that when you play when you Digivolve into Azulongmon, that if you haven't already cleared the field of sources, that his effect will clear the field of sources. That way you can get the max amount of memory back, and you can get the max amount of security checks. At the same time that you're building this chain, you're going to want to build you can either use Wanyamon or Kiaramon. We'll use Kiaramon in this case. Kiaramon into Blucomon. Blucomon into Paildramon. Paildramon into Crisp Paildramon. And then Crisp Paildramon into Hexeblaumon. In this Digivolution line, your Kiaramon gives you draw power. Blucomon gives you extra memory. Crisp Paildramon, when Digivolving, helps clear out some of the field, as well as just Paildramon clears out one source, but Crisp Paildramon clears out a source from all Digimon. And also adds security attack to your Hexeblaumon, who will also have jamming. Alright, and Hexeblaumon prevents all of the Digimon with no sources from blocking or attacking. So he is super key in this deck. And then just on the side, if you have it, whatever, you've got stuff like being able to play Gomamon into a Coelamon if you wanted to, or whatever you want, into another. You can Digivolve him into an Ikakumon and go up the line, whatever you want to do. And then now you've got another Digimon that will trigger memory gain every time one of these guys deletes a source. Also, Wanyamon will boost your Coelamon by 2000 DP, making him 7000. Or you could do, if you want even stronger, you could go Wanyamon to Gizamon to Coelamon. And now your Coelamon's a 9000 DP blocker, so there's that. And then, like I said before, you got Sora and Joe to add memory out the wazoo. You got Desperado Blaster to clear out anything if you've got a bunch of sources on the field across different Digimon. You got your Howling Memory Boost for clearing sources and gaining memory. I mean, this whole deck plays so smoothly. Even when I had there was one time I played, I wasn't drawing level 4s for some reason. Even if I had to hard play a level 5 in order to kind of get going, I didn't have any issues. there was one time I played where I hard played, I believe it was, I hard played a Quellamon because that was the only level 4 I had, and then I hard played a Hexeblaumon to get into Hexeblaumon, and then I Quellamon went into Magiramon, into Azulongmon, and even though I didn't have any of these down here, by the time I'd gotten into it, because, you know, it took a few turns to get decent enough stuff because I was drawing poorly that one game. My opponent had 3 Digimon on the field. I was still able to clear out all the Digivolution sources. My Azulongmon still ended up with 4 security checks and 1 attack, and because the Magiramon was still there, could unsuspend and attack again. My Hexeblaumon, I was still able to Digivolve into Hexeblaumon. I played like 2 Soras. I played 1 by paying the memory. 1 came out of security check. I had plenty of memory, and I was still able to win. I lost 2 security checks in that game and cleared all of his and took him out in that one round, no issue. Anyway, so I've rattled and rambled on enough about this deck. Let me pop up the deck list here for you. I will turn off camera real quick just so you can see the full scope of cards. So we got 4 Wanyamon, 1 Kiaramon, 4 Belucomon, there we go, 4 Gizamon, 4 Gumamon, so that's 12 rookies, 2 Ikakumon, 4 Peldramon, 4 Quellamon, so that's 10 champions, 4 Peldramon, 4 Magiramon, so 8 ultimates, and then 4 Hexeblaumon, 4 Azulongmon, 8 megas, and then 4 of each option, Desperado Blaster, Howling Memory Boost, and 4 Sora and Joes. This works great. I thought maybe I might want to play more Ikakumon to have the blocking protection. That's something you could do. You could trade them out maybe for, you know, put like an extra Ikakumon, take out a Quellamon. You don't need a whole lot of blocking unless you're concerned like your opponent's playing like extra aggressive rookie rush decks maybe. But the sooner you can get into your Hexeblaumon, the sooner those type of decks don't become an issue. They won't be able to attack. But anyways, this is my Azulongmon / Hexeblaumon deck. They really go well together. Azulongmon and Hexeblaumon, they complement each other so well, and Hexeblaummon's evolutionary line works wonders with Azulongmon. Alright, well, thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I enjoyed building this deck. I built this deck on my live stream earlier today. If you missed that, well, that's because you're not subscribed. If you subscribe to the channel and you turn on notifications, then you won't miss my live streams. I also built a Jessamon and a 3 Musketeers deck. We'll be playtesting those as well, and if I love them, if they come back with amazing results, I'll put up my deck list for that too. Alright, thank you for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Peace!